Hey guys, sorry, here just trying to, ooh, that's a big jump in, get this all sorted. One day I'll have an iPad. Okay, so we are looking for the arithmetic sequence and the common difference, which when we jump from one to a next, hopefully you see that it's going down, it's subtracting by 7 each time. So think of it as -7. The number at the 0 spot, so remember that this would technically be like spot number 1, spot number 2, spot number 3. So if we were to jump ahead, right, that would be 10. So that is technically our 0 spot. So 10 would be our 0 spot. And that 0 spot, when we write it as an equation, so y equals, that 0 spot is always this piece right here, because we're thinking of the equation y equals mx plus b. So we know that our slope is our common difference, or our m, so -7, and then whatever we want to input in here, whatever, like our first spot, our second spot, our third spot in the sequence. So when we want to find the 38th number, we're just going to do -7 times 38 plus 10, and we're going to get -256. Okay, again, if we look here, the common difference is we are adding 6 each time. We're adding 6 each time. All right, so plus 6. And then if we're looking at our 0 spot, that means we're going to jump back 6 places. So that's going to be -16. This would be our 0 spot, our 1 spot, our 2 spot, like the line leader, your second in line, your third in line. All right, so our number at the 0 spot is -16. And if we were to write it as an equation, we just write y equals, all right, we're going to do -16 at our 0 spot, and then our common difference, 6x. So again, the number at the 38th spot is going to be 6 times 38 minus 16, which is 212. All right, important formulas. So slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Point slope is y minus y1, remember that's the point that we insert, equals our slope times x minus x1. Remember, that's the x term of the point we insert. So, when we are finding our slope, I'm just going to label them x1, y1, x2, y2, and I am going to do 3 minus -7 over 6 minus -2. Okay, so remember, 2 negatives become a positive, and I'm left with 10 over 8. These are both divisible by 2, so it reduces down to 5 over 4. So my slope is 5 over 4. Again, x1, y1, x2, y2, just a little bit more practice. And we're going to do 7 minus -8 over 3 minus 3, which, again, 2 negatives make a positive. So we're going to have 15, and 3 minus 3 is 0. Okay, remember, think of this as Humpty Dumpty has fallen off the wall. So that would be an undefined slope. He's all broken up. Undefined when the 0 is on the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to highlight that so you guys see that 0 is on the bottom, and he's very sad. to have fallen off of his wall. Okay, next slope is going to be x1, y1, x2, y2. And I'm going to do -9 minus -9 over -11 minus 4. That's going to be 0 over -15. And this time, Humpty Dumpty's on top, so he's happy. And our slope is going to be 0. Okay, so graph two different lines with a slope that is undefined. So what I'm going to look at first is I'm going to just graph it. So I'm going to just go ahead and draw a straight up and down line. Okay, so there's one of my lines. Okay, I see that it's crossing through my y-axis, so I'm going to write y equals, because it's crossing through my y-axis, and look where it crosses through, -4. Okay, I'm going to just draw another line over here. I don't have a straight edge, so I'm doing my best here. And I see that it crosses the y-axis. Sorry, why am I saying y-axis? X-axis. This is my x-axis. Goodness gracious, sorry guys. At 8. So x equals a +8. And those are just two different equations. All right, now two different slopes, and you can always, this is like a trick that somebody showed me, that you can formulate a u for undefined, if you want to think of it that way. And for my first equation, I'm going to just draw a line here and here, and this time it is actually crossing through the y-axis, and right here it's crossing through at a +6. So y equals 6. I'm going to just draw another one down here. Too much caffeine, so my hands are a little shaky. And this time it's crossing through at y equals -7. Okay, a cool thing about this one is you can see that you can make a z for 0 slope out of a flat line. It's kind of a nice little trick and something to remember. Okay, so let's flip our page. It's kind of a long study guide, guys. It's going to be a long video. And remember that slope is change in y over change in x. So I'm going to look at my y and see what's happening. And I see that it's increasing by 4 each time. So I'm going to go ahead and put 4 on top to see that it's increasing by 4. And then here, it seems to be going down by 2, right? So down by 2. Well, these are both divisible by 2. So I'm going to have 4 divided by 2 is 2, -2 divided by 2 is 1. So my slope is going to be -2 over 1. All right, this time, again, I'm going to think of my y. So I'm going to look here, and it seems to be going up by 5, right? And this seems to be going up by 20. So 5 over 20, my y on top, right? And I look at it this way, and I can reduce. They're both divisible by 5, so I'm going to have 1 over 4. So my slope is equal to 1 over 4. Okay, a swimmer, let's call him Diego, climbs a ladder for 3 seconds to a water slide that is 8 feet tall. He sits on top of the ladder for 1 second, and then slides 10 feet down the slide into the water in 3 seconds. He stayed steady at the same position underwater for 1 second before rising to the surface in 2 seconds. He remained in the pool for 2 more seconds. All right, so we're going to try to graph this. All right, so he climbs the ladder for 3 seconds. Well, and the ladder is 8 feet tall. So we know that after 3 seconds, I'm going to go to my 8, and 1 second, 2 second, 3 second. He's going to be right here. So I'm going to kind of pencil this in. He sits atop of the ladder for 1 second. So 1 second, he's right here. We'll do another little point to represent that second. And then he slides 10 feet down. All right, so remember he's at 8, and he's going to go 10 feet down. So we're going to be down here somewhere, but we got to make sure we keep track of the seconds, all right, because he's going underwater. And he slides down the water in 3 seconds. So from where we are, we're going to count over 1, if you can see from here, right, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then he's down 2 feet down here. So we're going to connect those points. He stayed at the same position underwater for 1 second. So he's under here. We're going to draw that 1 second down there. And then he returns to the surface in 2 seconds. So he's going to go back up to the surface. So right up here at that 0 line. And 1, 2. And that's kind of what it would look like. I'll try to highlight it, and maybe that will help. So he goes up, he stays here for 1 second, down, stays there for 1 second, and then back up. Hopefully you can see these flat portions. What was the average rate of change going up the ladder? All right, so I took 0, 0, where we started. That was one of my points, and then I looked and saw that I was at 3, 8, right? Over 3 seconds and up 8 feet. So what I did was I did 8 minus 0 over 3 minus 0. And I got 8 over 3. That was my rate of change, which is a fancy way of saying your slope. What was Diego's average rate of change as he went down the slide? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this point right here, which is 4, 8, and this point way down here, which is 7, -2, and I'm going to just go ahead and find the rate of change. So -2 minus 8 over 7 minus 4, which is going to be -10, and 7 minus 4 is going to be 3. So my rate of change is going to be, that's a positive 3. Hopefully it doesn't look negative. -10 over 3. Okay, using slope-intercept below, graph the equation. Right, we're going to start with our y-intercept, which is 3, so we're going to just go ahead and find 3 and plot it. And we're going to see that it's a negative slope, so we want to make sure that our line is going downward. So from there, I'm going to go down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2. And I can even go up 1, but then to the left 2. And there we go. Looking here, our slope is -1/2, and our y-intercept is 3. Okay, moving right along. Again, we're going to graph a line just the same way. We look here, our slope is 4, which you can always think of it as 4 over 1, and our y-intercept is -2. So I'm going to start with my y-intercept, which is -2, and this time it's a positive slope, so it's going to be going upwards. So I'm going to go up 4 over 1, up 4 over 1, and I can even go down 4 and over 1. And my line looks a little squiggly, but you get the idea. Okay, write the equation in slope-intercept form given the graph. Okay, so I'm going to write y equals mx plus b. And I'm going to look for my b, which is my y-intercept first, which is right here at 4. So I've got my x, right? And then I've got my plus, because it's positive, 4. Now from here, I'm just going to count my rise. So 1, 2. So 2, I've gone up right here, right? Plus 2. And then I go to the left 1. So minus 1. So minus 1. My slope is going to be 2 over negative 1, or negative 2. And my y-intercept is 4. Okay, again, I'm going to look at my y-intercept, which this time it's going to be a negative 3. And I have my x, and I'm going to look for my slope, and this time it's a positive slope. So I see that I go up 1, so a positive 1, and then I go over 1, 2, and 3, from dot to dot. So plus 3. Hooray! Okay, write an equation of the line that passes through the point negative 4, negative 3, and has a slope of this. So guys, I'm just going to do point slope. It doesn't specify, it doesn't say slope intercept, so I'm going to do y minus y1 equals my slope, x minus x1. Okay, so I'm going to do x minus negative 3. All right, whoops, equals my slope, which is 5 over 4, parentheses, x minus negative 4. Technically 2 little parentheses. That's all I have to do. Graphing it, I just look for the point negative 4, negative 3. I plot that point, and then here I go up 5 over 4. So up 5 over 4. And I just kind of sketch my line out here. You can do more points if you want to, but that's it. And then over here, the same thing. However, I have to find my slope first. So x1, y1, x2, y2. Negative 5 minus 7 over 6 minus negative 2. All right, negative 5 minus negative 7 is going to be negative 12. 2 negatives become a positive, which would be 8. These are both divisible by 4, so I'm going to have negative 3 over 2. That's my slope. So I'm going to use either of these points. I'm going to just use this first one. So I'm going to do y minus 7 equals my slope, negative 3 over 2, parentheses, x minus negative, excuse me, negative 2. Now I can use either of these points, but I'm just going to use this one because it's what I used in my equation. So negative 2 and up 7 right here. And now looking at my slope, keep in mind it's negative, so I'm going to go down 3 over 2. Down 3 over 2. And I'm going to just go ahead and sketch my line. Okay, last page of this very long video. Okay, we've got to convert this equation from standard form to slope-intercept. So remember, that's y equals mx plus b. I'm going to subtract 6x, subtract 6x, and I'm going to have negative 8y. Here, I'll go ahead and do it there. That might make a little bit more sense. Negative 8y equals negative 6x minus 24. Okay, so when we were working through that slide thing, one of the mistakes you guys were making was not dividing it by both of these terms. So I have y equals, whoops, negative 6 over negative 8x, and then negative 24 divided by negative 8 is a positive 3. Okay, the tricky thing here is these two are going to become a positive, right? A negative over a negative. And these are both divisible by 2. So my answer which I'm running out of room, is y equals 3 over 4x minus, or sorry, plus 3. Let me just make sure that that's right. Okay. All right, same thing over here. I'll go ahead and draw my line down, my equal sign. I'm going to get y alone, so I'm going to add 5x to both sides. That cancels out, and I'm left with 15y equals 5x plus 30. All right, I've got to divide by 15. I'm going to put it under both numbers this time to give you guys a different visual. And I'm going to have y equals 5 over 15x, which you probably see we can reduce, plus 2. Okay, so these are both divisible by 5, which means I have y equals 1 over 3x, right? 15 divided by 5 is 3, plus 2 as my answer. Okay, last but not least, I am going to move the 4x over. And I'm going to have 8y equals negative 4x plus 32. And then I'm going to divide by 8 and divide by 8. So I'm going to have y equals negative 4 over 8x plus 4, because 32 divided by 8 is 4. These can also be reduced, oh, don't know why I put the cap on that one, by 4. So I'm going to have y equals negative 1 over 2x plus 4. That would be my answer. Okay, moving along, parallel. So they're going to be the same slope. All right, well, I'm going to tell you right now that it's A and B. Those are the ones with the same slope. The thing about it is we need to convert these into slope-intercept form so that we can figure out the slope. So we're going to subtract 2x and subtract 2x. We're doing just what we did up here to determine our slope. So we're going to have 3y equals negative 2x plus 12. All right, so I divide by 3, and I divide by 3. I have y equals negative 2 over 3x plus 4. This is all I'm looking for. I want these to be the same. All right, same thing here. I'm going to move the 3x over, so I'm going to have negative 2y equals negative 3x plus 10. All right, I'm going to divide by negative 2 and divide by negative 2. I'll get y equals wait, what did I do here? I did that wrong. It's not A and B, because that's going to be 3 over 2x plus minus 5. All right, and those aren't the same. But if I look here at D, I see that this is negative 2 over 3, negative 2 over 3. So these are my matching equations. Ooh, I had an error on my original key. Sorry, guys. Okay, perpendicular. Well, the cool thing is here, we know one of our slopes, right? We know that this is 3. We know that x equals 5, so let's just give ourselves a visual. And here's my graph. Let's just say that this is our 5 part on our x-axis, and it would go like this. 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 And Okay, so we know that that's an undefined slope and it's perpendicular to a 0 slope. So that means it would have to be a y equals something. So divide by 8, y equals -3. Okay, so again, if we're graphing, right, we're just doing a demo graph, and here's our -3 spot. These two lines in undefined and a 0 slope, they would be perpendicular to each other. Okay, so find the equation of a line that is parallel to y equals 2x minus 1 and goes through this point. So we're going to do, this slope is going to stay the same, and all we're going to do is plug it into point slope. So y minus 2, right, there's our y value, equals our slope that's going to stay the same, 2x minus 6. That's it. That's all you have to do. Because it doesn't specify what equation, plug into point slope. Perpendicular is a little different, right? We've got to look here. This is -3x, so perpendicular, our slope is going to be a positive, right, opposite value, 1/3. Now all we need to do is use this point. So y minus -7 equals your slope, 1/3, x minus 9. Okay, so package A is represented by the function C equals 9p plus 5, where C is the total cost and P is the number of people. Package B is represented to the table by the right. Okay, if 24 people attend the birthday party, which package will cost less and by how much? Okay, so we're going to look at package A first, and we're going to just plug in 24. So we're going to do 9 times 24 plus 5. Right, that's going to be 216 plus 5, which is going to be $221. It's a pretty good price for a party, right? All right, now we're going to look at package B. Okay, so we're going to see how much it's going up, and it looks like it's going up by 10 each time. Okay, and we kind of want to figure out our 0. So our 0 amount of people, if we go back, is going to be 4. So I'm going to write an equation, y equals 10 for the amount it's increasing each time, x plus 4, our 0 spot. Okay, so I want to see how many by the 24th person. So I'm going to do 10 times 24 plus 4. Right, that's going to be 240 plus 4, which is going to be 244. All right, well, we can see that package B is more expensive, but it says which package will cost less and by how much. So let's do 221 minus 244, and we will get $23. And who doesn't want to save $23? So package A by $23. And that's it. Whew, thanks for sticking with me, guys.